Welcome, everyone. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in, I'll lead the prayer tonight. Be led in prayer by me, and then please stand, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Payne. Dear Lord in heaven, we acknowledge you for the privilege to make decisions on the behalf of the citizens of Southaven. We ask for your guidance and your wisdom that we make the right decision, that we always keep the priorities correct, that we serve the people of the city. And we ask your blessing upon our work in the city. We thank you for this time, that we can be thankful for the many blessings that you provided us, with the most being your son, Jesus, who died on the cross and paid the price for all of our sins. In Jesus' name we pray and thank you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda this evening is approval of minutes for the November 6, 2018 meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 6th, 2018 with any additions, deletions, or corrections.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Hoop?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution approving holidays for the city operation.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution, Mayor, Board of Aldermen, City of Southaven declaring municipal holidays as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Hoop?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval of MML travel for the January conference.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve to allow members of the mayor and the members of the Board of Aldermen and other city officials to go to the midwinter MML conference in Jackson.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the is it XO Communication Services LLC franchise agreement.
This is the franchise agreement that we put on the clerk's office last board meeting for review. It allows for XO to do provide certain cable throughout the city in the right of ways. My understanding is there has been no one who has come to review the agreement on file with the clerk's office. They'll pay us at the time of signing $1,200 plus I think 10 cents per linear foot upon installation. It's being more tailored for commercial and governmental entities, the internet and services it provides. But tonight, ask for authorization of the mayor, or to pass the ordinance, and ask for authorization of the mayor to sign the ordinance for the franchise agreement.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion?
So is XO the name of the commercial company, or is XO just a third party person putting the cabling in?
XO is the actual company. XO Communication Incorporated, or XO Communication is the actual company, LLC. And I guess they will contract other people to put the installation, or to put the cables in or the fiber in. We do have a provision in the contract or in the ordinance that requires them to have somebody for us to call at a number in the event and ask questions or any issues that come up. So we're not just going to picture online, we have a specific number in that agreement that someone can call, that the city can call too. So Excel will be answering us, but then they have a third party doing the actual installation.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for Sergeant Misha Kimball, Misha Kimball's retirement and allowing her to keep the firearm.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution of the Mayor Board of Aldermen, the City of Southaven, presenting Sergeant Misha Kimball her service weapon in recognition of her retirement as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. I'll do it. All right, next on the agenda is an amendment to our Live Nation agreement. As all of you know, we entered an agreement in January of this year to allow Live Nation to be the concert promoter for the concerts at the Bank Plus Amphitheater. And we've been in negotiation with them regarding a date. They wanted a date, the Saturday night for our Spring Fest, to provide a concert then. So we have been in negotiations with them. We explained to them, that we rely on the concerts as a revenue producer to help subsidize the entire Spring Fest event. Over the last 2 to 3 years, we've noticed a major decline in attendance at the concerts, and it's a combination of many things. We believe, number one, it's become more costly to get entertainers. So you have to pay a lot more money to get a quality act there, and also we feel like that a lot of people have been accustomed to having the fine concerts at the at the amphitheater. They're used to having that throughout the year, so it's not really a big deal, when you have a nationally known entertainer that's there. So for the budget that we've had, we generally spend about $35,000 a night on Friday night and Saturday night to get the entertainment. And bottom line is, it's just gotten to where nobody goes anymore. I mean, the attendance last year, we didn't officially count it, but it was less than 1,000 people on both nights, I believe, or something like that. Christy, is that about right? Or
I think so.
yeah. So anyway, it's gotten extremely, the attendance is extremely poor. So the fact that Live Nation requested the night and the fact that we need help getting better entertainment, we felt like it was a good idea to negotiate a deal with them to provide the entertainment on Saturday night. So what would be different is the Springfest ticket is going to get you in the barbecue, and then whatever we do on Friday night, it'll include that. But the Saturday night concert, you will have to have a ticket like you would at any other Live Nation produced event. Now, in return for that, this is something that can be extremely beneficial financially for the city. Last year and the years before, we pay Live Nation or the previous promoter to set up the stage for our entertainment. We have to pay a fee for that. We also pay a fee for them helping us acquire the entertainers. So the savings just in that is $56,000 from last year. So this year we're going to save $56,000 if we do this by not having to set the stage up, pay for that, pay for the searching for the entertainers, and then in addition to that, the total, counting the actual cost of the entertainment, which was $74,000 last year, right off the bat is going to change our financial position by $130,000. All right. Well, then on top of that, I explained to Live Nation in my negotiations that for us to forego, the revenue that we would have normally produced by having the concerts, because we're going to have to close the plaza on Saturday night because it'll be just like any other concert. So in order to do that, we needed more revenue sharing. Our current agreement allows us $1.50 a ticket, and you can do the math on that. If you have the average attendance there was 8,000 people last year, so you can tell that we're asking for much more money than that. So what I negotiated with them and what's in this addendum is a guaranteed $35,000. So they pay all the expenses that we were paying last year. So that saves us $130,000. Then on top of that, they guarantee us $35,000 regardless of attendance on Saturday night. And if attendance exceeds 5,000, if it's 5,000 or more, they pay us $50,000. And then if it exceeds 6,000, they pay us $60,000. So this could be a $190,000 turnaround for our Springfest operation. So for that reason, I recommend that we accept this part of the contract and allow Live Nation to produce a concert on the Saturday night. Now on Friday night, we still have, they've agreed Friday night to do as they always do and set the stage up and have it ready. And then they've also agreed to help us acquire entertainment if we want to do that again on Friday night. Christy and I discussed this at length. You know, we've considered several different things, but we think we can put something together either with a smaller known entertainer or maybe even some type of amateur event on Friday night. So there will still be entertainment on Friday and Saturday night. The only thing changing is Live Nation will be producing a concert on Saturday night.
Do we have any idea what kind of concert it's going to be there?
We do, but we can't announce that. It's going to be announced on November 30th. They already have an entertainer that I can tell you it is it's a nationally known extended career. It's a big name entertainer.
So we go along with the theme of what we're doing.
Exactly. Yes, it will be a bigger name than we've had there in a long time. And is it November 30th? They're going to announce it on.
They're announcing Monday the 26th and on sale 30th.
Right. Obviously, they're waiting on you. Y'all have to approve this,
Yeah.
and we've told them that nothing can be announced until the board, you know, assuming that, or just, you know, contingent upon your approval.
Mr. Mayor, did y'all negotiate, I guess, coming and going into Springfest and back to the concert? If you buy a ticket to the concert, can you come and go, I guess, as you need to go check on your kids or?
Right, you will,
Family goes.
we've met one time and had several conference calls about the logistics and how it all works. And the cleanest way to do it is, you're gonna have a separate ticket for the concert. So nothing will change if you're going to the Springfest event. You'll pay $10, just like you always do, and you'll get in. But if you are gonna, they'll be blocked off behind the amphitheater where you enter the plaza. You'll have to show another ticket at that point to get into the concert. So if you just purchase a concert ticket, that does not get you in our event because we don't want to give up that revenue. We still want to get our $10 a ticket. You're coming in the Springfest, and vice versa. So you would need 2 tickets if you plan on interchanging like that. And they did offer. We've not gotten into the details of that yet, but they did offer to. They provide our tickets for us anyway, but they've offered to add a link or another box when someone buys a ticket to the Saturday night concert where they can go ahead and buy their barbecue ticket as well. So that way it will help us promote and, you know, sell more tickets. But there's no one ticket gets both. You have to have both tickets if you're planning on going into the barbecue and then back out. And it'll be separated by gates. And that was the cleanest way. That's based on Christie's recommendation, also talking to Live Nation. Y'all recall that a few years ago, Dave Matthews Band did play on a Saturday night. And just to remind you, we got nothing on that. 0. But anyway, we feel like we're getting paid, you know, for the extra planning we're going to be required to do. Does that answer your question? That's all. I know that's
It does, yeah.
Any other discussion? Well, we need a motion, actually, my bad.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the First Amendment to agreement between the City of Southaven and Live Nation Entertainment as presented on this date.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Now, is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Hoop?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. All right, next on the agenda is a resolution for grinder pump stations. Mr. Nick Manley again.
It's just the resolution to allow for grinder pump stations. The address is on the Exhibit A. allow for the easement as well. These are the ones that connect those individuals to the city sewer systems.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution of the City of Southaven governing authorities authorizing the installation of grinder pumps for sewer service.
Second. We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for vehicle for hire.
This resolution vehicle for hire from Ms. Bell, she has provided the information, the background checks have been done. The resolution will be contingent upon her providing the insurance certificate as required to the clerk's office. And tonight authorize the mayor to sign the resolution for the vehicle for hire under Mississippi code that requires the board to approve these.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a sole source contract with Sustained Software for the Southaven Police Department.
I think this is Chief Perlis for the electronic surveillance that's needed for the sole source. The last piece that's needed for that, and it's a sole source up there with Sustain. I can't see the amount, but the amount is $15,000, I think, and something dollars for this last sole source. And the letter is included in the minutes as well from Sustain.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept Sustain as a sole source provider for the Southaven Police Department as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution to clean private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution granting authority to clean private property as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Is there anyone in the audience that has an interest in the properties that would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application is for subdivision approval for Lot 16. I know it says Lot 1 in your agenda, but it was an error on my behalf. For Silo Square subdivision, this is going to be in the commercial setting. It is off of the future May Boulevard, which will carry over on the other side of Getwell, over the west side of Getwell. It's going to be behind the front out parcels. It's 0.9 acres. It does have ingress egress to it. It does also provide for the May Boulevard right-of-way dedication needed. It's compliant with commercial subdivision requirements with the bulk regs for general setbacks and general notes added to the plat. We recommend approval. It was voted unanimously in favor of by the Planning Commission.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler and a second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion?
That's what I just corrected. It was 16.
So it is 16.
It is
correct?
16, yes, sir. It was wrong on the agenda.
Is there any discussion on item 1? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries on 1.
Item number 2 is the actual mixed-use building that is proposed to go on Lot 16, Silo Square subdivision. You can see on the elevations submitted, it is exactly the kind of design that we had planned for in the Silo Square. It is a 3-story mixed-use building with high-end lofts on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and you've got residential on the bottom floor. There's some brick samples up here that Mr. Hill, who's actually in the audience and can come up and speak about it even more detail than I can. All of the bricks have an aged look to them. They've got kind of a main street, an old town design to it, almost has a little New Orleans into it as well. So what you have there, the elevation submitted, we have the landscape plan that was submitted. He is also designing the boulevard, down May Boulevard, to match ours as well. Decorative lighting, putting the landscaping within there as well. There was some minimal tweaks and some questions about some of the landscaping that was addressed at the Planning Commission, but otherwise it was voted unanimously and very favorably by the Planning Commission. I know Mr. Hill's here in the audience, and he wanted to kind of speak very quickly about it before we approve it, but I can tell you from the design that we had nothing but good reviews from the Planning Commission and voted unanimously in favor of it. So that's your palette you've seen. And why you have that huge palette, I can explain this really quick while he's walking up, is the tenant spaces on the bottom floor. Obviously, you've got a solid brick going up the design, but the storefronts have capability to have their own color and identity. The goal is to kind of mix match the paints and the bricks, so the building, even though it's one continuous piece, looks like it's disconnected from each other. And this is the historical palette from, I believe, Sherman Williams historical palette that we're going to utilize for the tenant spaces below. So I'll let Mr. Hill speak.
I don't have anything further. I'm Brian Hill, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Where's that brick center?
I didn't see it on the agenda.
It's under this agenda.
Okay. I do want to talk about something in Silo Square. I have an opinion, and I know y'all are going to want to ask your city engineer, but I am, at my expense, going to beef up the base of the roads at Silo Square because I'm going to try and prevent road failures in the future. It's never preventable. We have them on the interstate, and they build roads as good as you can build them. But I'm going to do everything I can to try to beef them up. One of the things that I feel like causes some of our road failures is the fact that roads are designed to have 3 or 3.5 inches of asphalt on them, on top of the base. And we start off for several years with 1.5 inches or 2 inches on top of our base. What happens, in my opinion, I'm not an engineer, but I've developed a lot of roads, is where we have our curb and gutter and our asphalt sits below that. Our water table, where our water runs, it doesn't end up being in the gutter. It runs down the asphalt in between the curb and the asphalt. And it allows water to seep into our soil cement. And soil cement will deteriorate over time if water's introduced to it. So what I'm asking to do is in Silo Square, because I'm already beefing up the roads, is to go ahead within the first year, not all initially. I'm going to give it most of a year to settle what it may. But what I would like to do is go ahead and put the final lift of asphalt on so that not only can I get the water into the gutter to keep it from running down the edge of the road and potentially getting into the soil cement, but when we do that, it also forces all the water to the lowest storm drain inlet, because if the water's not in the gutter, it has no way to get into the storm drain. So I'm wanting to get the water into those inlets, and for that reason is because I'm gonna have so much pedestrian traffic on May Boulevard that when it's raining, I don't want all the water going to the lowest inlet and having a big old puddle where people walk out off the sidewalks and try to get in their car, but they have 1.5 inches of water. So one, I'm doing it because I want to get the water in the gutter and get it out of the soil cement. 2, I'm trying to keep people from having to step in it because there will be a lot of traffic on that road. So I don't know if that's something that we're gonna make a motion on or whatever,
Well,
but.
it's a design criteria, and so since this is the first phase with the first section of the actual road, I felt it needed to kind of go into here and see how we wanted to play out under approval on this, because if the first portion of May Boulevard is done like this, I think we need to approve it under a design review. So that's why I told him we would bring it up actually in this item.
I mean, it's what, now, a couple of years ago, you and I talked about that. That was your idea, not just for Silo Square, but you felt like that's something that would improve developments throughout our city. So I just want you to know, I didn't just not do anything after we had the phone conversation. I did speak with Dan Cordell about that in detail. And obviously, there is some benefit to doing it that way. One of the things Dan told me, and I want him to correct me if I say something that's inaccurate, but he did tell me that a lot of the subdivisions that we struggle with throughout the city, the main reason that we had such damage to the base is because of the length of time that went by, like because of the housing crisis. So like if somebody, poured the initial asphalt in 2008 and then they started building homes again in 2017, because of the length of time that went by before the final lift was put on it, that was the main reason that we had such horrendous decay of our roads. So Dan felt like that was the biggest problem, but I don't think he disagrees, and I'll let him speak if he wants, but I don't think he disagrees with what you're saying. I think that it's obviously, we'll keep the water into the gutter, and it's got to have some benefit. I guess the main thing is we didn't know that it was totally necessary citywide to do that, because now we're not in the housing crisis. Development is occurring, developments are happening much faster. But Dan's standing up, I'll let him share his thoughts on that, but I don't know the negative to doing that. I mean, that's extra money that you're spending. So I mean, what is the negative? I mean, when we do the final lift, it would cause some milling that we normally wouldn't have, correct, Dan?
It could. I really want to agree with both.
You're impressed that I know these streets like this, right?
Yeah.
You still haven't given me my engineering certificate for my wall yet.
But you're getting ready. I'm going to agree with both sides in that it really, I don't know that it needs a motion or anything from the board. We're now looking at it from a design review issue. It's more than just putting the final layer in that you can have. We've actually started, in some instances, depressing the curb inlet so that, as he described, you have a lip that's the asphalt to the gutter. So the water's not getting in the gutter yet, but you can lower the actual inlet so that while the water's running down the side of the asphalt, it can intermediately get into the gutter while you're waiting on the final lift. But in his instance, he's not wrong in that from a main street pedestrian travel, we may want him to put the final lift on. It doesn't mean we may have to have a repair or a milling or an overlay. It's no different than what he would have to do from a maintenance standpoint, probably on the intermediate lift. But it's not a bad idea in that instance. Now, I don't say that needs to be a citywide thing, but more as he's got a main boulevard, a main entrance, so it may work there. But it's more of something we look at from a design review standpoint versus a global design change.
So for this specific development, if he's wanting to do that, why would we, I mean, because before he dedicates the road to the city, it's going to have the final lift on it. So why would we oppose that if he wants to do that?
No, right now I'm not saying we do have any opposition to it, but it's something we would like to work out through the design as far as a timing standpoint.
And we appreciate you being so conscious of that. I mean,
to be honest, and he's seen it, and we've seen it. That's one component of the issue we have. The other component is we now have better eyes on the product that we're putting down. Most of our failures were in places where the structure you were planning to have is not there. I mean, in other words, the city accepted stuff that we didn't have eyes on at the time. And instead of, just for round numbers, say you had 8 inches of soil cement, well, instead we have 6 inches of soil cement. Instead of 1.5 inches asphalt, we have less than 1 inch. And so it's breaking up, crumbling. Our main issue was quality control, which we're doing better now in reviews and site work. But there are instances, like he's saying, where you need to look at the final design and make adjustments based off what the intent of the road is. And that being May Boulevard, having pedestrian traffic, it probably would be wise to have the final lift on, but we just need to work it out in design review. So it probably would help.
So what exactly are we asking the board to do tonight?
We're kind of lumping this early final lift on and different design to May Boulevard in with the first phase of the development, so we know we can carry on this way down May Boulevard for the rest of this development.
I don't know that it needs board action, but what it is an understanding of, as different from most developments, you're probably going to be accepting May Boulevard sooner than, usually we do an 80% build out.
Right.
And it's bonded until then. We will probably accept May Boulevard before there's an 80% build out in the total development. Because he's gonna build it out stronger and he's gonna need it built to that probably before he gets everything else built out. So later down the road, we will probably be taking on that road sooner than what the finished construction would be. That's kind of the way I see it.
And since this is a design review application that's having formal approval process on it, it just is about, I guess, a better safety net to put it within this first phase under design review, that it's gonna be, it's a varying design from what we normally approve. These buildings on their design on their own, it's just kind of lumped in with them to give it a formal review and a formal approval through the board.
And question, Brian, for you, and the whole beauty of doing a smaller initial lay is because you're gonna be, the road's gonna be damaged by construction vehicles. So how does that, what are your, I mean, you don't worry about the construction traffic damaging the road if you're gonna do the.
We can drive through subdivisions that are 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, and you're gonna see road problems. So you're gonna have failures over time in your final lift of asphalt. What I'm saying, and really I'm saying, look, I'm gonna spend the money up front. I'm spending it not only on a better base, but I'm spending it on the final lift way sooner than what you might normally do it. But I'm gonna be a guinea pig on May Boulevard to, if I'm correct, and I think I am, if we can get that water into the curb and gutter and keep it from going into the soil cement layer, our roads are gonna be better over time. What, does water break down soil cement? So every
Water
time.
breaks down everything in the subbase.
That's right.
That's
So
your failure.
every time you drive down a street and you see a crack in the asphalt, water's getting in it. When you see the asphalt shrink away from the curb, water's getting in it. Well, when it shrinks away from the curb and the asphalt's 1.5 inches lower, that water's forced. It's going into that crack and it's breaking down our base. So my thought is, because we're not putting the asphalt down soon enough, that our roads are breaking down worse than they are gonna naturally break down. They're gonna break down. I think that we're exaggerating that. I don't want it to happen on May Boulevard. So that's one reason. Then the other reason, like I said, is to get the water off the roads for the pedestrians. My inlets are already in place. I can't lower my inlets. They're all precast inlets. It would take major work for us to go in there and remove the tops and cut them all down. So my only option at this point is to get that final lift on to get it into the inlets.
Okay.
Really, the only difference I see, and we haven't worked it out yet, would be by accepting the road sooner. The skip is usually, if he just put down the first layer and didn't put the final, we would make him bond a maintenance, repair, and final lift. In this instance, the only gap is he doesn't bond the final lift. I think in working this out, we would still make him bond the repair of the final surface. The difference would be, it'd be our road, and so we'd be responsible for milling the edges and putting in the final lift if there's some repairs that have to happen. But he would have the bond on the repairs. He would have already done the final lift, and it would minimize the repairs that would happen. And then we would just be responsible for, no different than a city street, the mill and overlay that would happen if at the end of the development there's something that has to be fixed from an aesthetic standpoint. So it's kind of the way I see it. I hadn't worked all that out with him yet.
Sounds, I don't see it being a risk to the city. It sounds good to me. Do y'all have any questions, board?
Yeah, do we have to approve it now?
Are we?
There's no board action, right?
I mean, there's really no application for that variance.
I understand what he's doing. I just also know if we just come inside of the 80%, we're taking more risk to fix the streets later on, if we bond it out, or if we accept it before 80%, we got risk involved in having to fix something that does break down. Not saying it's going to, but just from a city point of view.
As far as bonding requirements, I mean, you still want to have a bond.
When do we release the bond? 80%?
When it's 80%, when there's 80% build out of the subdivision.
Okay, well, y'all were saying you may release it earlier, and that's what I
Well,
was.
Well,
we
there's
won't
a
release
thing.
the bond will be based off a different amount. I mean, he'll already have his final lift in, so he won't be bonding that.
Right.
He'll be bonding the maintenance of patching.
If a curb busts
And
down
there's
or
really no way to
something.
bond the
That's-
full road either,
that's
because he's
right.
gonna be building it as
No,
he progresses.
And if just
Well,
minor
that's-
repairs happen, then all he has to do is fix it, but if it
Yeah.
becomes something that's so substantial, we have to do, he would bond the repairs and we would put a mill and overlay.
So nothing
on it.
changes really, except he's not bonding the asphalt?
That's right.
Okay.
Because
I just make sure we don't get.
not
any-
bonding it because I've already done it.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah, it's done, I just don't want to take on any more liability for the city.
And so I guess from the design review approval standpoint, we're asking for the design approval, the landscape approval, the boulevard approval and all that, but also a variance to the standard street design and final lift percentages with it, since it is a design variance.
Okay, well, that's what so you are asking for board approval of that?
Yes, I did it within our standard formal approval for design review. That's why I asked him to
Okay.
come up and talk about it now, because we could actually get it in the minutes as part of our design review approval.
Okay, I got you. Okay, is there any other, well, we'll need a motion, to approve too, but since we're discussing, is there any other discussion before we do that?
So the staff report will include this as attached to the minutes there. Notice
Yes,
the
we will put an addendum
very-
to it that we're going to allow,
Not
and we'll have to
included.
word it how we decide we're gonna proceed forward. We'll have to get it worded, and put in the minutes with that.
Well, you want to word it now, since it's going to be voted on.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be being able to put the final lift prior to an 80% build out. I mean, however.
With a bond on the maintenance and patching still, you still have a bond on the maintenance, until it's released
That's
at
not bad.
80%.
Yeah, that won't have to be worried. That's standard for anything.
That's normal, that's right.
I guess the only thing we're asking
You're
to
eliminating the
variance.
bonding of the final lift.
Yes,
What's that?
we're just
You're-
gonna eliminate the bonding for the final lift. We'll actually put that on prior to an 80% build out.
And I guess you would be, I hate to put words, but I guess we're asking to put it in before the 80% build out.
That's what I'm saying.
So not only are we eliminating the bond, but we're asking to put it in before the 80% build out.
You're not eliminating the whole bond, though, you're just eliminating
The final lift.
the asphalt,
Final
final
lift.
That's right. We're still gonna be responsible for maintenance.
But you're not gonna remove the bond on the final lift.
He's gonna be placing the final lift on, so we won't be bonding it because he would have placed the final lift
But I
on.
think that's Alderman Wheeler's question, what if we do that early, we don't do it like we normally do when it's 80% built out, we do it early and then we have damage to the road, then that's a risk for the city?
That's the
Fixing the
maintenance
damage
that
on
I'll
the
cover.
maintenance.
Okay.
We're still gonna have a maintenance bond on it. It
Okay,
just
so
won't
you
be a-
are gonna have
we
that
are gonna
bond
have a
all the way to
maintenance
the
bond
end.
on it, yes.
Okay.
Are you putting asphalt
Yes.
down next week?
No, I wish.
Can we word this where it's worded right and then vote?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
yes.
I feel better.
Yes, I agree with that.
And-
And we're
and
also
Raymond's not
approving the
here.
very pretty buildings that are sitting out there in front too.
Okay.
Bill's
So I
not-
appreciate you coming forward, Brian, and explaining all that to us. So we can do that at a later time. So right now, we need to approve the design, though, correct? The
Yes,
design.
that's what's in front of you right now.
Okay, and the design, I appreciate you doing what you say you're gonna do. It looks just like you said it would, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Where's the bricks at? I want to look at them.
Well, now,
Where's the bricks at?
There's some samples right there. like that.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to approve item number 2, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any other discussion?
So the motion is just for the buildings with the understanding that they'll come back at the,
The wording.
with the final lift at the next meeting.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries.
Our next application is for a conditional use permit for a full-service spa at 1306 Goodman Road. It's an existing multi-tenant building on the north side of Goodman Road, east of Sweeney. Obviously, it's got nail care, skin care, hair care, which meets the amenity needs for a full-service spa. Conditional use permit requires that there be a 1 mile radius from an existing spa of this type. Before we can approve the conditional use permit, we did a window survey and checked the business licenses, and it does comply with that. So we're asking for a 1-year conditional use permit with a 4-year extension to be renewed annually.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve item number 3 on the planning agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries.
The next application is a conditional use permit for a full-service barber shop at 1565 Main Street. Again, an existing multi-tenant building. It's going to be on the south side of Main Street, west of Whitworth. It has the same requirements as those of a full-service spa, which is a 1 mile radius away from an existing full-service barber shop, and it did meet those requirements. We're requesting a 1-year conditional use permit with a 4-year extension to be renewed annually.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve item number 4 on the planning agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
That motion carries.
The last application is again a conditional use permit to open a beauty salon at 1130 State Line Road, an existing multi-tenant building. This is going to be in the Rousey Commercial Subdivision, where Service Master is, going towards Tullahoma. Again, it has the same requirements, the 1 mile radius rule from another beauty salon. It does meet those requirements, so we're requesting a 1-year conditional use permit with a 4-year extension to be renewed annually.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve item number 5 on the planning agenda as presented on this day.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is mayor's report. Just today, since the agenda was set, we did get the bank bids back. So Mr. Chris Wilson will come forward and discuss the bank bids, and we'll ask for an acceptance of that tonight.
So we received the bids yesterday morning at 10 o'clock. We received 4 bids: Renaissance Bank, Bank Plus, First Tennessee, and Bancorp South. And this is our biannual bid for our municipal depository. State law does give us guidance that the bids are to be considered, the interest rate is to be the quote primary consideration, although other factors that the bids were submitted can be considered, other factors can be considered by the board. At this point, the bids came in. Renaissance Bank proposed 1.51%. This is on all depository monies, the annual rate. First Tennessee, 2.45. Bancorp South and Bank Plus both proposed a Fed fund rate minus 15 basis points. And in Bancorp South's bid, they proposed that or a flat fixed rate of 2.59. Now, again, the Fed fund rate, as of today, well, put it like this, our current rate right now, 2 years ago, we accepted the Fed fund rate as proposed by First Tennessee, and as of now, it is 2.05. It has, obviously, every time you see the Fed Bank raise interest rates, that's what they're doing, is they're affecting the Fed fund rate. As of today, it is 2.0 to 2.25 is the target rate. So our rate right now is based off that 2.25. I sent out the projections. You're looking at a potential, most likely next month's Fed fund rate will increase to 2.25 to 2.50, which again, and the recommendation right now is because we don't, obviously you're playing a market speculation game. If you take the Fed fund rate, 2 years ago when we did it, the other rates proposed were 0.22 and 0.17% interest. So obviously we did a good job right there projecting what the Fed fund will do in 2 years. Right now it's a little bit more murky. In fact, to give you an example, in October, the rate was projected to be as high as 3 to 3.25 at the rate of 20%. There was a 20% probability of that rate going up to that. Now it's down to an 8% probability of that rate. So economists are starting to back off their projections of the Fed fund raising, which is why at this time, I think it's in City's best interest to accept the Bancorp bid based on the flat rate for 2 years of the 2.59%. In other words, the Fed fund rate will have to go to 2.75 to get us to about a break even on not accepting that fixed rate. And that probably will happen in 2019, but we don't. And again, we switched, we were with Bancorp, Bank Plus won the bid, First Tennessee won the bid, so switching isn't something that we are not accustomed to doing. Having been with Bancorp before, we believe the transition would be relatively painless. And after I talked to Andrea, talked to the department heads about our services with Bancorp South, everyone seems very confident in their ability, plus for both for customer service and their financial services provided.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the recommendation to follow Mr. Wilson's recommendation and go with Bancorp South as our bank.
Second that.
Just and allow all documents to be signed by the mayor, clerk,
And allow all documents to be signed.
city
by the mayor.
administrator, all information provided. Just
Exactly.
Okay, we have a motion by
Keep
Alderman
on
Payne.
moving millions of dollars from one account
It's
to
a lot,
another.
right? Signature.
Yeah, thank you, John. We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, just a couple other things I want to update everyone on. Small Business Saturday is coming up on November 24th, so we've signed a proclamation just showing our support as a city, of small business. And I want to read this to you. Whereas the government of Southaven, Mississippi celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 30.2 million small businesses in the United States. They represent more than 99.7% of all business with employees in the United States and are responsible for 65.9% of net jobs created from 2000 to 2017. And whereas small businesses employ 47.5% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, and whereas 90% of consumers in the United States say Small Business Saturday has had a positive impact on their community, and whereas 89% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday said the day encourages them to shop small all year long, and whereas 73% of consumers who reportedly shop small at independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday did so with friends or family, and whereas the most reported reason for consumers aware of the day to shop and dine at small independently owned businesses was to support their community, 64%. And whereas Southaven, Mississippi supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our community. And whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore I, Darren Musselwhite, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Southaven, Mississippi, hereby proclaim Saturday, November 24th, 2018 as Small Business Saturday, and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Just another update with business in general in our city. Sales and our sales and tourism tax continues to have an upward trend. We don't know, we do have spikes throughout the year and cycles, so we can't multiply it times 12 and guarantee a projection of what the total impact would be. But our sales tax revenue in the month of November is over $100,000 higher for 1 month than what we projected it to be. So don't know how how much the magnitude of that will be on an annual basis. But you gotta believe that that significant increase in 1 month is a great sign for us. So just wanted to share that with you. One other thing too, since I've last spoken with you, we've had some issues to work through on the Greenbrick indoor softball facility. That's part of our Parks Enhancement Program. We had set the location after a large amount of planning. It was going to be right on the corner of Stowewood and the parking lot. But after that, when they got to the point where the engineers did a soil sample, they realized that the soil sample at that location is not safe. I mean, we could go in and do beams and build it there, but it's just based on engineers, Dan Cordell's recommendation and my comfort level also. We don't want to go spend the extra money to put it right there. We feel like we can move it and still accomplish the same thing. And I don't like the idea of building it like a bridge. I mean, that makes me worry, you know, in the future. Evidently, in the 1950s or earlier, before Greenbrick Park, well, way before Greenbrick Park was built, I think it was built in the 70s, probably mid-70s, there evidently was some type of water source there. There was either a lake or something there. So when the park was built, that's why the soil sample is not good. So anyway, we've met about that. We've scrutinized all the details, and we're just going to shift it to where it would be facing. It'll be facing south, but it would be at the main entrance of the park, where everyone comes in the main entrance. Now we think it's key, you know, to have the building because it has the offices there where the teams, when they register for the tournaments, are checking in. We don't want them to have to park twice. We want them to be able to park, check in, and then go in and get ready to play their games. Same thing with the girls. We don't want them in between games having to come out, walk across a parking lot. We want them to be able to come out and have the training facility right there for them on game days. So we can do that by placing it in the parking lot. And I'll show you all the diagram later. We're not, I can get those details later, but it's going to be in the parking lot, but we're going to redo the landscaping so it you know, kind of becomes natural with a part of the park there, with it, build it into the entrance there. But anyway, I just wanted you to know that we did have to shift the location. Nothing is changing with the facility itself, the layout of it. And by the way, it's a grand facility. Back in the summer, we went to Ole Miss and toured the women's softball training facility there. We went to a few others in Oxford and in North Mississippi to look at them, and kind of mirrored this plan after ones that have proven to be successful with a good layout. And this thing's going to be great. I really think that the girls are going to love it, and I'm happy about it. You know, y'all can remember as far back, at least as 2013, you know, we've gotten requests over the years to make Greenbrick comparable to Snowden as far as the options for the softball. And so that's somewhat been one of my promises. I know I told many people that made sense to me, and that I would go to the board and advocate for that. And y'all supported me on that, and I appreciate that. So that is part of our plan, but it's going to be reality soon. So the facility will be under construction probably no later than you know, late March, April. So we're pretty fired up about that. But just want to let you know there was a change in the layout. I will get that information individually. Just email me, and I'll turn that back to you. And that's basically it tonight. The other thing is, as I said in our department head meeting this morning, a lot of times I'm busy not a lot of times, I'm always busy as mayor. It's a very demanding job. I like to work hard. I expect, you know, our employees to work hard, which they do. But I just want to take this time, you know, it is a special time where we can express thanks. And I told the department heads this morning that although I don't do a great job of, you know, giving attaboys and patting on the back as much as I should, I let them know that they're doing a great job for the city. We have an excellent team right now with the department heads. Everyone's doing a great job, and I want them to know, and I told them that I appreciate them. I'm thankful for all the employees of the city. I know that for our city to operate as successfully as it is, it takes a lot of people, you know, doing a lot of different jobs, and I'm just here to tell everybody tonight that our people, our employees, are doing a fantastic job. I recognize that, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm also thankful for the board. All of us, you know, I know a lot of times people think that we get up here, you know, twice a month And we have a meeting that lasts about an hour and a half, and it's easy, and everybody agrees, and we all go home smiling. And that's just not the case. You know, sometimes it's difficult. We make difficult decisions. We don't always agree on everything, but we've learned to work together. And I want to tell all of you tonight that I appreciate you. You know, we have a big assignment, you know, making decisions for a great city, and we're doing a great job of that, with that. And I thank all of you for all that you do. I want you to know that I appreciate you. And then to the people of the city, again, I would be a liar if I said there's not times when I talk to myself and say, what in the world was I thinking when I ran for mayor? I do have moments like that even still. I have times when I say, what did I get myself into? Why am I doing this? But I'm here to tell you tonight that I want to thank you for the job. You know, I enjoy the job. It's an honor for me to serve as mayor. And I want to thank the people of the city again tonight for allowing me to do the job. I'm very appreciative of that. But I hope everybody has a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Okay, that wraps up my report tonight. Next on our agenda is our citizens' agenda. We did not have anyone in advance that signed up, but the floor is open. If anyone would like to speak, please come forward.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Well, I thought my mailbox issue was going to be discussed tonight.
It's executive session under claims.
Okay, so
Yes,
do I
ma'am.
speak on it now?
You're more than welcome to.
Okay.
Or we can wait later.
Yes, my mailbox was hit by a Southaven police officer on October the 3rd. I was able to get it fixed. I had to take off work to make sure I was home to fix the mailbox. When he hit it, he spoke to my husband. He stated to him, get your mailbox fixed. And so on October the 19th, we had it fixed. And, you know, like I said, my husband and I, we work the same hours as the rest of you. And so we took off work, had to come to the police station to receive a report. The lady at the station stated, just take it to City Hall and you will be reimbursed. Not one time did the officer state that it had to be voted on. Not one time the lady at the police station stated it had to be voted on. Went to City Hall, spoke to a young lady there, and she informed me, hey, your mailbox issue will have to be voted on November the 6th. Now, this was October the 19th. Very upset, highly still upset about it. So October the 19th, I emailed Christy, and she included Andrea on an email. Remember, October 3rd, October 19th. And so Christy, she did respond to me later on that night, and then she stated that, you know, it had to be voted on. Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong. Andrea did only respond on that day, October 22nd, stating, you know, state law, whatever. In order for you to get your money back, it has to be voted on November 6th. It will be placed on the city attorney's desk. I'm following up on November the 8th, sent an email to Christy and Andrea asking, hey, was it voted on? November the 9th, Christy stated in an email, checks are cut either Thursdays or Tuesdays. She confirmed with Andrea, no reply. November the 13th, I did another follow-up email. By this time, I'm pissed. You know, just, I need my money. Christy responded back to me November the 14th, and then I was, you know, you can look at the emails, I was very angry. Nick responded to me with a copy of the letter that should have been mailed to me, dated November the 9th. We did receive the letter on November the 15th, the next day, and I was highly upset, and I used the word disgusted that I received a copy of a letter that should have been mailed to me. And then also we were going back and forth, and so finally November the 15th, we were just saying, I was informed that everything will be voted on today, November the 20th. I just need my money. And in the letter, it was asking me, questioning the stand of my mailbox. I'm on the phone at my job calling different companies, hey, I need my mailbox fixed. And like I stated in the email, I didn't specify the box or the stand. I just stated mailbox. sent me pictures of a mailbox. I selected one and then just followed through. And again, in my emails all the time, I need my money.
Well, I won't try to respond to any of the individuals that you named, but I will tell you one thing, that I understand your frustration, because the governmental process is not like it would be in private. Like, the board does have to approve any kind of claim that's submitted, and that has to be done at these board meetings. So, and there has to be a reasonable amount of time where there's some investigation, where information is prepared to present to the board in executive session so they can review that. And a lot of times that doesn't happen as quick as we would like for that to do. So I don't blame you for being frustrated. I know if it happened the first part of October, and here it is November 20th, I don't blame you for being frustrated. But some of that, I will tell you, that it's not, we can't get around some of that. Some of that is state law
A
and
simple
process.
follow-up. I was being more proactive than anyone. And then also, I even made a suggestion. If something happens to another citizen by a city employee, if there's going to be any questions or anything, number one, the city could have come out to replace my mailbox. If you're, I don't know if you have people going around, that you have replacing mailboxes or whatever.
No, we're not allowed to do any work on private property, so we would not be replacing anyone's mailbox.
Well,
But
just so a citizen like me would not be out of an amount of money and then waiting. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I know I'm nowhere in politics or anything, but that will be the best way to handle things, my opinion.
Right, no, I appreciate that, and if Nick can speak, because Nick is our city attorney, so when there's a claim made, he does his job, and he gathers the information, and he presents it to the board, but no claim can be paid until there is board approval. So what you were told is correct. Now, as far as follow-up, again, that's something that if the employees that are in this room want to respond to that, I can tell you that I saw the email as well. Christy copied me on the email. And I review that. Like, when I'm copied, I look at the email and make sure that things are being handled the way they're supposed to be handled, because I take responsibility for citizen service, and I do that just like I would do with my own business. I take that very personally. So the employees of the city can tell you that I do follow up. I expect there to be timely response to any type of contact that we have from citizens. But Nick, would you address timing, please?
No, I got your claim. I reviewed it. I sent you a letter. Obviously, I have no control for the postal service as far as how long it took to get there. And once I got your email, I then immediately forwarded you a letter I'd sent to you asking for further information, like I do on every claim when it's presented to the board, as far as questions that I may have, simply because I want to make sure I have all the facts. Now, it wasn't obviously on the November 6th agenda, and I guess I didn't have enough time at that point to review it. I will note the claim happened on October 3rd, and you didn't file it until October 19th, so there is a 16-day window there.
Oh, yes, because I'm working, I was traveling.
And I get multiple claims as well, and so I'm traveling as well. So I mean, I wish it could have been done sooner. It is on the agenda tonight. However, this claim was treated just like any other claim. There was a letter that was sent. The letter obviously didn't get to you in the amount of time you wanted it to get there to. I wish it got to you there quicker. But as soon as I did get your email, I did forward the letter to you, and I have since reviewed it and talked to you and emailed with you multiple times last week, and followed up as soon as I got your email. So from my end, I don't I would disagree on the timeliness aspect of your discussion tonight. But like I said, I'll be happy to review your claim with the board tonight under executive session as it relates to claims and litigation, and I can follow up with you first thing in the morning, or tonight if you want to wait around after executive session.
Yes, I'll wait.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because I just need my money.
I understand. And I think there was a difference of what I saw and what you saw, and as far as the claim went, and that was what I was wanting to review and ask more questions about, just like I would any other claim. So I'll take the responsibility for it not being on the November 6th agenda because I had more questions. So that's on me, but I'm going to present it tonight at the November 20th meeting.
Thank you. And then just to follow up with the gentleman about the road work, we built a house in Shelbourne Estates, Chamberlain Properties, promised that they were going to redo the roads, but I'm pretty sure it was on the agenda because I had several neighbors to come in. Tower Drive needs desperate attention on the roads.
I can tell you that I know the roads. I've actually ridden Tower Drive. There was another very nice lady that came to the board meeting a few months ago, and I personally rode Tower. And not only Tower, but the two connecting streets to Rasco need to be redone also. We wouldn't just do Tower and not do those two pieces. recall the name of it. One of them is Plum Point. Plum
That's where
Point.
my house sits, Plum Point
Okay.
and Tower Drive. But-
Okay, and then the other little side stretch that's on the west side needs to be done too. That's on our list of streets. We didn't get it this year, but it is on our list, and we will get those resurfaced, because I agree with you, they need to be resurfaced.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming forward. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, next, city attorney's legal update.
I've got one quick item I just came finalized today. It's a contract, an amendment to the contract with Waste Connections just for the Southaven West Precinct garbage disposal or dump there. We have a contract in place. The amendment, the contract is for Bradley's signature, and the amendment to the contract is too. We're having to do a contract and an amendment because the contract had certain terms that we couldn't agree to, but it's a standard contract, they couldn't delete it, so we just did an amendment to delete those contracts. So authorization for Bradley to sign the contract, an amendment to contract for the Waste Connections Incorporated of Tennessee service at the Southaven West Precinct for garbage removal.
So moved. Second.
And I will note, it's a 36-month contract, and it's below $50,000, so since it's a service contract for waste under $50,000, there's no requirement for bids.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a utility bill adjustment.
I don't think there was maybe one or two going at the meeting last time. I'll explain what this is. This is just under the state law, when we have a utility bill adjustment, we have to have it marked, or we have to have it put on our minutes. And so what cities have started doing is just make sure these are on their minutes. So tonight, or from here on out, we have the utility bill adjustment docket, just like we do a personnel docket. It has the utility bill amount that's been adjusted and the reasoning that for it, the adjustment, because the individual or entity did not receive service, then they're being charged for that service. So that's the reason for utility bill adjustment docket. So
We make a motion to accept it.
you would just make a motion to approve the docket, if you want, if that's what you're wanting to do. I'm not saying what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do.
Is that what we need?
Yeah, I recommend it, yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the utility bill adjustment docket as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our claims docket.
Mr. Mayor, it looks like we have two dockets.
Okay, docket, is there a motion for docket?
I move we approve docket number 1 in the amount of $975,662.28, including command checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
And I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $370.
Second.
Okay, on docket 2, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
And that motion carries. Next on the agenda is to determine the need of executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is claims and litigation against the Southaven Police Department, economic development within our city, and potential litigation by the city. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Brooks. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.